Made a three-legged stool and I wanted to splay the legs, and splaying the legs consistently, repeatedly, is something I wanted to be able to do, so I made a very quick and dirty, super simple jig for my level tabled drill press. There's just a scrap of wood with three pieces of other wood stuck to it with double-sided tape. Two little keepers to center the seat on, or to rest the seat on, and another little stool, you could say, to hold the stool top at an angle. And depending on how tall you make that third piece of wood as to how steep the splay on your legs would be. The reason I did this with this drill press, because my drill press doesn't have a tilting table, and so I had to basically tilt the stool rather than tilt the table, and but I wanted to do it consistently. So once I built this goofy little jig, I clamped it to my drill press so that each time I rotated the seat 120 degrees, I got a consistent splay angle on all three legs, radiating out from the center of the seat. That was my whole purpose. Again, super simple, nothing special whatsoever, but it sure worked good to give me this nice even splaying. The only critical part of this when sticking these boards down was to do them square with this piece of wood, so that when you put the table, or when you put the stool top on them, it doesn't rock around, that it actually sits, it seats in and it doesn't wiggle on you. And so once I got those on there square, you can see you just set the seat on there. Here it is after the legs are in place. But as I show you this with just a framing square, you can see that all the legs are going straight up and down. Depending on how high you make that little piece of wood as to how steep the angle of the splayed leg will be. And of course I went crazy because of SketchUp and drew the stool at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 degrees, trying to decide on which one I wanted. Again, it's just a scrap piece of wood, three pieces of wood stuck to it, and the top just rests and nestles against those two smaller pieces of wood. If you have a drill press that where the table tips or slants, you can eliminate that third piece of wood and just tilt your table to the angle that you want. Just use those two keepers, again clamping it to the table, and at least you have something to seat that top against, again to get three consistent holes. If you wanted to do through tenons, just suggest you put a piece of wood under it and clamp both the jig and the stool so that you won't get blowout when you drill all the way through. And it gives you 3 or 4 super consistent holes. I then marked the legs with a pencil in order to cut that waste away, so that when they did seat down in the tenons that I'd cut, or the holes that I drilled, the legs seated flush with the bottom. Then I used a little tenoning jig from my table saw to finally clamp the table, or clamp the stool to it, so that I could cut also consistent level legs, that the legs would sit level with the floor and the top of the stool would sit level with the floor. And it gave me the finished product. Thanks for watching.